As we strive to evolve as conscious leaders, enhancing our deeper awareness can help us make wiser decisions. We also feel best as leaders, as human beings, when we're operating in integrity, with our choices and actions well aligned with our values. In this video, we'll look at practical ways to improve the clarity with which we make our CEO decisions. And we'll also see how we can do this from a much less stressed place. Let's see how. Being far more aware of what's going on around and within us provides rich information that up-levels our capacity to lead wisely. Greater awareness opens doors to fresh insights and clarity, and having a more whole, more refined view of what's going on in our companies significantly reduces stress levels, our own and those around us. Because if we're less stressed, we're far less likely to negatively impact everyone else and raise their stress levels. It can be easy to get caught up in the day-to-day drama of our companies, and dramas are magnetic and pull our attention away from what we really need to be aware of. It's just really hard to make wise decisions when we're distracted, and thus less aware of all we need to see if we're to lead well. The sheer volume of things we need to attend to as CEOs can keep us moving so fast to stay on top of things that everything around us becomes a blur. But within that blur, we're often missing things that are important for us to be aware of. Without that awareness, we become partially blind to what's going on, and there's usually a price to be paid for that somewhere down the road. Raising our awareness is a process by which we open ourselves to channels of info that we generally don't notice or pay attention to, that we disregard as unimportant, or those things we just don't want to have to deal with. My CEO and entrepreneur clients often ask for practical tips on how to further raise and expand their awareness so they can bring their leadership to the next level. So to that end, let's explore one way where we can raise awareness in service of wiser decision-making. I call this one the "Would I Tell Everyone" method, an effective tool we can use to shine light on our drivers and whether our decisions are aligned with our stated values is to simply ask ourselves, would I feel great telling my closest friends, my family, people with high integrity whom I most respect, the unvarnished truth about a particular choice? And by unvarnished truth, I mean that we wouldn't omit or embellish any aspects of the decision or situation in an attempt to manipulate others to perceive us in a positive light. The point is to use what's really going on in any situation, because that offers us a genuine opportunity to reflect upon how we really feel about the path down which we're traveling. Life is full of opportunities to sweep awareness of our values and feelings under the rug in service of making money or getting what we want. We're very creative beings who can easily find ways to justify ignoring the needs of other people if it means we can get our needs met, and we can be really effective at blinding ourselves to the truth of doing that. But if we worship money, power, and control over our living in alignment with our values, we'll suffer in the long run. It truly does haunt us and bring stress to our lives. So this process of telling, or even imagining telling, the naked, unspun truth to those whose view of us matters most, helps put a magnifying glass on what we're doing. Not because we're designing our lives to be based on what others think about us. That's not good at all. But rather, to make use of that reflection to enhance our awareness of what's driving us, and assess whether what we're choosing truly aligns with our values. Remember, the goal here is to become far more aware of what's going on externally and internally. Now, external awareness informs and confronts us as to how our decisions might impact our lives, the lives of those around us, the broader range of stakeholders we serve, the environment. Now, internal awareness sensitizes us to how we feel about those other potential impacts. It reveals whether our choices are in alignment with our values. It brings to light whether going down this path feels right for us and is in integrity. And with our hearts engaged, we can sense the degree to which this decision considers the well-being of those who will be affected by it. So the "would I tell everyone" technique gives us an opportunity to reflect upon whether or not our choice is really in alignment with our values. So all in all, raising our awareness in this way can illuminate blind spots, save us from shooting ourselves in the foot, and open our eyes to better or optimal choices. Let's move from the conceptual into the practical application of this process in your CEO universe. Let's actually do the "would I tell everyone" experiment. So the point of this is to raise our awareness and gain access to valuable information from which we can better lead. The key in this particular experiment is to notice what needs drive us out of integrity and out of alignment with our values, and to see which unhealthy strategies we use to achieve that. Right? This is all about expanding and enhancing our awareness in service of leading more wisely. So then, with that expanded awareness, we can make course corrections, and then we can bring positive change to our organizations. In this experiment, our mission is to see where we're out of alignment, learn from that, clean up any messes we've made, and we do make messes, then become more aware as we move forward as conscious leaders. If you can, if you're willing, close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, and release. Now take a moment and recall a situation in which you took advantage of someone. A situation in which, if a spotlight was shining on you at the time for all to see, you would not have felt good. Imagine sharing the whole of what took place, free of any spin doctoring, to those whose respect is important to you. This could be a parent, a mentor, a spouse or partner, or even your children. Looking back at the situation, what do you remember thinking and feeling? Can you see what was driving you to say or do what you did? What needs were in play at the time that were driving you? Unmet needs could be wanting the respect of others, to finally be seen as great at what you do, to be able to buy a bigger house others would admire, to feel more powerful by crushing the competition, whatever it was for you. Can you see if you blinded or numbed or distracted yourself in service of being able to ignore your conscience so that you could do what you did? And if so, how did you do that? Essentially, what can you learn about how you got yourself to behave in a way that didn't feel right? That's what we're looking for. And remember, we're endeavoring to learn to be more conscious leaders, better human beings. And to do that, we can examine where we're insufficiently aware and allowing less conscious behaviors to run the show. This is really important. Some people will have a habit, a history of beating themselves up about their negative behaviors. This never helps. It's just a different pattern of negative behavior that makes you feel worse and have more need to feel better. So release that need. This is just about seeing what's happening in service of cleaning up how we show up, healing. Raising awareness around what drives us when we operate at less than at our best is part of the healing process. It allows us to learn how to better meet those internal needs in a healthier way. It makes it far less likely that we'll get taken over by those unhealthy and negatively impactful drivers within us. Regardless of how long ago what you were reflecting upon took place, there are many opportunities to clean up after ourselves. I know quite a few CEOs who have, years after the fact, reached out to former partners and employees or others to apologize for words said or actions taken. And while that's not always received well by those others, it very often is. But no matter, what's cleansing is the owning of it, the learning from it, and the initiative to heal and grow and learn and evolve. So here we are, moving forward, aware. So the key steps we can take in our decision-making processes are raise our awareness of the many aspects of our situations, including what's going on inside of us. Notice what we feel and sense about all that we become aware of. We can measure all of that against our values. We can start to assess the wisdom of any choices we make. Utilizing this process with any upcoming decision can support us in checking out whether we're in integrity and in alignment with our values. If we discover that we're not in alignment, we can assess which course corrections can be made so that our decision is aligned, is wise, and in integrity. There's more content on the 𝗟𝗏𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗏 website, as well as info on how we can connect. I'll leave the link below so you can check it out. Until then, have a great day.